Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing well today, and in this video I'm going to be continuing practicing my painting, and I'm going to go ahead and put the colors on the screen of what I'm going to be using in this piece. And the first thing that I want to focus on are all of the dark shades. So I go around and I line out everything that's going to be dark and give it a contrast so that when I go and layer paint over top, I know what the darkest points are going to be in the piece. With my style of painting, I really enjoy an impressionism sort of look, and sometimes I add bits and pieces of realism or just more details in general. But because this is my practice painting, I'm not really too focused on every detail. I kind of wanted to do this for the composition and to get an idea of what kind of art I think will look good, or maybe what I could improve in the future. So the first thing that I always focus on is whatever is the most farthest away, that is in the distance, and I like to, in this stage, block everything in. I'm not concerned about the detail yet, or the little detail that I will be adding. It's really not that much. And so I just go ahead and make sure that the whole piece of painting that I'm working on, this piece of paper, I should say, is covered. And then the next layers of paint that I'll be adding are going to be the lighter colors, and then I'll build from that. And just to say right now, ahead of time, I'm really happy with how this painting turns out. I'm always curious about how it will turn out, because sometimes I don't always know if what's in my brain and what I imagine is always going to be the same that comes out onto the sheet of paper. And so this piece was really fun to do. I don't usually paint people or like little figures, and so I do enjoy paintings where I do add that. And I'm just super happy with what I know that I'm capable of, because sometimes, like, after taking a break from painting, you come back to it, and you may not always know like what you remember, or like what's muscle memory and stuff like that. So yeah, coming back from break to paint again has been really fun and exciting. So with this first layer, everything is really dark, because then everything else afterwards is going to be a lighter and lighter contrast to help build the colors, and also some of this dark will peek through underneath. And so to have that first layered down, or the first layer of this is painted, then it does help kind of envision what I'm going to be focusing on in terms of colors and shapes once I add more details. I always enjoy painting things that have like a house or some sort of mountain in the background. I enjoy landscape paintings that are very woodsy and involved with like a more greenery kind of scenery. It's probably because that's where I'm around. My environment where I live is a lot like this, because I do enjoy painting beaches and more of like sea kind of paintings, on the shore paintings, but I don't always do it because that's not usually what I'm around. But when I do see those types of paintings, it does bring a sense of like summer and warmth into like your home. And so I do enjoy other types of paintings. I just know that I really prefer these kind of paintings where there's a home and it feels cozy and you're out in the woods and stuff. I just always have loved seeing art like this, even in cartoons, like a lot of the older kind of kid cartoons. A lot of the times they would be on a farm, or there would be some sort of like big backyard that they would have, or something like that. So I've always appreciated seeing art like that. And so I guess it's just kind of been with me over the years. When I was really young, like a kid, I would paint, or not paint, sorry, I would draw houses that had the windows with the curtains showing and like smoke coming out of a chimney and stuff like that. So I have been drawing art like that for a very long time. I think I just mainly got inspired by cartoons because I would even go out of my way to draw like the Powerpuff Girls and SpongeBob and stuff like that. And I would try to remember what I had seen from the episode. And then I would take a piece of paper and pencil, and then I would try to remember the shapes and like what they look like. And yeah, I remember just being super creative when I was a kid. And because of it, I would always have like things that my family had bought me that were like colored pencils, crayons, any type of little artsy, crafty kind of uh, materials, any type of paint and stuff like that. So I've always enjoyed this creative side, and I don't know, to see like that I've continued over the years is kind of special, and it's just something that brings joy to my heart. In this video, I was going to continue with another section of the practice painting that I'm doing on this sheet of paper, because there are two other uh, sections down below where I'm painting right now, that I have other images. But this took a little longer than I anticipated. So I'm gonna go ahead and wait to do the other two that are down below in another YouTube video. And I thought, maybe it's a good idea that I make this into like a little series or something where I just practice painting instead of working on like a huge painting, because sometimes that may not always take a day or two. It might take a little bit more time. And when I make the YouTube videos, I usually like to take a day or two to make the video. I don't really have things that are very ahead of time. Like when I make the videos, I usually do it within the same week that I upload. I get very overwhelmed very easily when I have a bunch of clips and things to edit like that. So I just take it a step at a time instead of doing like a big batch of recording and editing and all that good stuff. So when I go and continue these other little paintings that are underneath of this one, I'm going to probably do it in two other videos as well, because I just want to make sure that I give myself enough time to do it. And yeah, this was a really fun piece to work on. I like that each one that I'm painting in the practice painting is going to be a little bit different. They're not all the same. Like the one on the left has water. This one doesn't have any at all. And so I like being able to practice different type of sceneries as well, just so that I can get used to it and I can remember kind of the shapes and the colors and everything, because I feel like that's the most important thing, is the shapes and the colors. Because if you can get that down, then I feel like you can understand ways to improve your composition, and maybe even just other details and aspects that come to trying to improve your painting in general. Because I know with me, there's a lot of improvement that I feel that I need, but I also don't want to discredit myself and judge myself to the point where, I think that my art is not as good or not as professional or something like that, which I don't really even care so much if I'm that professional or like a masterpiece kind of art style that I'm doing. I'm not really concerned about that. I just like being able to paint what is in my mind. Like when I've created all of these little pieces that I'm practicing, this is something that I've came up with in my head. I may look at like photos to understand the colors and shapes, but for the part where it's like, where the house is, where the trees are, where the mountains are, everything like that, I just was able to come up on my own. And then like sometimes when it comes to the people, like the little figures, I might have to look up online just like what a silhouette of a person looks like, just so that I can get an idea of certain shapes. But I was really happy with how this turned out because I didn't have to look up how a silhouette pose needed to be in order to kind of get the shape that I was looking for. And I was pretty impressed with myself. I'm not gonna lie that I was able to pull this part off right here. I knew that I wanted to focus on the shirt and the pants first, and I know that when it comes to the legs, you kind of want to make them a little bit longer than maybe what you would think. And then with like the neck, you don't barely want one at all because then it starts looking really awkward with the shape. And so, yeah, there's like certain things that I've heard from other artists on tips and tricks with the people, because that's always been something that I have been very intimidated about. But I like painting them like this, where I don't have a face, there's not much going on, and I think it still looks nice. So the last bits and pieces I'm doing is adding some green to the bushes and the grass. I probably could have chilled out a little bit with the highlighting on the grass, but I got really into it and I thought it looked good, so I just kept going. It kind of blends in with the bushes, but I still think it looks nice. And so, yeah, this is about it. Getting to the end of the video. Thank you for sticking around and making it this far. I very much appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great week, and bye-bye.